everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody here today. A couple weeks ago, on one of my Studio Calico box opens, I had a question in the comment section, and actually I believe there are two comments about it, about how I actually go about using my masks. So these comments were probably a month and a half ago or so I apologize for this being so delayed, but I did want to go ahead and touch on those comments. There's a couple of different types of masks that you can get. There is this, which is actually a wood veneer piece, but it's a thick wood veneer piece, as you can see, and I like to use these as masks. I also have the traditional mask, like this one that I got out of Studio Calico box, and then there are stencils, and I'll show you. These were actually purchased at Walmart a couple weeks ago. This was their stencil pages. They're by Plaid, I suppose is how you say it, and they're actually for home decor. But there are 3 different pages of stencils in here, and you can see the designs, and I thought they'd be perfect for scrapbook pages or cards. So there's 3 different ones here, and you can use a variety of methods with your stencils. You can, of course, use mists. You can use, this is the Studio G glitter glue or glitter paint or whatever. Glitter glue is actually what it's called. But you can use stickles. You can also use paint with them. You can use pens and markers, and of course you can use inks. So I'm going to go through here and kind of show you a couple of my methods, and hopefully you'll either learn something or it'll inspire you to try something you haven't tried in a while. So let's start. I've got a couple pieces of just cream colored paper here. Let's start with our spray. It's actually the messiest, so let's do that first. And I'm actually going to spray this Studio Calico one here. And what it is it kind of looks like a constellation. So I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to use my mist. I'm actually going to mist this pretty close to the page because I don't want to make a giant mess. Okay. Alright, so I'm just taking my spray. This just happens to be a Mr. Huey. It's warm calico. And I'm just going to spray right above it. Not too close. I'm probably about, let's see, less than a foot above it, but probably a good 7 or 8 inches. And you can see it shifted. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. You just lift off. It shifted as I sprayed it, so it has a little bit of a shadow effect to it, but it's close enough that you can actually see what it is, especially down here where the darker spray was. If it hadn't have shifted, I would have sprayed it again in this direction so you could see it. Let's look on the back. Let's try another one. And one way to help with that shifting, you could tape it down. I really don't want to tape it down because I want to get the full circle. Alright, what I did is I just have my glue runner here. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right under some of the stars. And for this, I definitely recommend having something on hand to wipe your hands off with. And I'm just going to put glue in the corners. And since I'm doing this, if I were planing this on a project, I would definitely make sure that the glue is in a place that's going to be either overlapped or I'm going to put an embellishment on top of. Alright, so let's try this again. These are the Mr. Huey's mists again. So you can see, pretty well coated. Since I'm not putting this immediately on a project, I'm not going to worry about drying it. But let me pull it off here so you can see it. There we go, much nicer without the shifting. So that's one way there. The next way, which is probably one of my favorite ways, is using ink. So I'm going to use the stencils for this. Let's do this little flower here. Like I said, these stencils are from Walmart. They were $2.50 on clearance, and you get 3 different pages. When I'm doing this, I use washi tape. I'm just going to tape it down here so it holds the paper as well as over here. Because all I'm going to use is this spot right here. Just ignore the ink that I have on my hands already. These sponges that I use, you can get the sponges from Tim Holtz, or other manufacturers also make them. But these are just the cheapy makeup applicators from Walmart, and I just cut them in half. And you just simply dab it on your ink and then put it on your paper. And you can do this as light or as dark, as even or uneven as you want to. I try to keep it pretty even most of the time, so I just dab around. Fill in the spots that aren't quite as coated. There you go. Very, very simple. If you're interested, this is Memories dye ink. It's in Mango. And you just pull it off and look. Beautiful. That is why this is one of my favorite methods. Things like that. Alright, the next one, I'm actually going to use the same stencil here. Let's use the scallop. Again, I just tape it down. And this time I'm going to use paint. I have this nifty little paint palette thing here. Squeeze a little bit of paint out. This is Craft Smart Paint in Ocean Breeze. Have my paintbrush. I do have some water over here, you just can't see, but I do have a little bit of water. Alright. And this one you have to be just a tad bit more careful because I don't want it to seep up under the mask. I'm just dabbing this paint on. I'm not really brushing, I'm more so dabbing. You don't want it too much because you don't want it to take forever to dry. The more you put on it, the more chance you have for it to seep up under the mask, which I believe just happened right here. But we'll see. This takes just a tad bit of practice. It really doesn't take that much, just enough for you to get used to it. And I typically hold down around where I'm doing it to try to reduce the amount of gapping up under the stencil. And all of these stencils, of course, you want to wash them as soon as you're done with them. Alright. And if you would like, you could do another coat, of course. I'm just going to gently peel this away. Okay, there you go. And you can see I definitely have some seeping going on. Put a little too much on there, but we could try it again with the smaller. I'll do it on this side. Let's try it with these smaller scallops. Let's see how it does there. See if I can get this any better for us here. This is one reason why the makeup brush is my favorite method. It's just cleaner looking. And I'm really not one for the messy look. I'm really not, even though I use some of the Distress products, I really have a hard time with Distress stuff because it just seems, it looks beautiful when other people do it, but when I do it, I feel like it's messy. I know that probably seems so unreasonable to most of you, but that's just how I feel about it. Alright. That's about all I'm going to do on this one. Let's see if that turned out a little bit better. And what I did that time is use less paint. Oop, it definitely did a little bit better, and sorry I've got paint everywhere up here. But you can see it's not as clean, of course, but it is a different look. Again, this is still my preferred method. Alright. And the last, there's two more that we haven't done yet. Let's use Oops. Move this so I don't get paint everywhere. This time we're going to use this green glitter, and what we're going to do is paint in the leaves on this flower. Basically, I'm just using it again as a stencil. Very easy, just filling it in, and we're going to pull it off here. This is definitely one of the messier looks, but I did want to share it with you because it could be appropriate. So you can see the green leaves. Very pretty, especially in the green on a Christmas card. That would be perfect. This green does very nice leaves. Here you go. And that again is just filling in the stencil. Alright, so we've done our mists. We've done our ink. We've done our paint, and we've done our glue. Let me show you one more method, and we'll use this one for this. This is simply using it as a stencil with a pen or a marker of some sort. Outlining is basically all you're going to do. Now in this case, it's definitely important to have this to where it's stationary and not moving. Otherwise, you're going to have some funny looking stenciling going on. If it has a repeating pattern like this, because then it won't match up. And since I'm doing this, I'm just going to cover the outside so I could still fill in the inside. Because what I'm going to do is trace the inside of the circles. Trying to avoid my other here. You're not limited to just using it as a mask for misting. You have a lot of options. So I'm just using a zig writer here. I'm just going to, you can use anything you want to. I just wanted something with the fine tip pen, fine tip so I can fill in these, or still trace these small circles. And you could definitely do this on a page and then use a circle punch with patterned paper and fill in a couple of them. That would be a really cool looking background. Actually, maybe I'll do that because I have a couple circle punches that coordinate with these sizes, which is purely by chance. They were not purchased for that reason. And this stencil came in a kit, or this wood veneer came in a kit, so it definitely wasn't planned that way. And I do want to apologize to the two ladies that asked that or made those comments because I wasn't able to, or I didn't get back to you as quickly as I would have hoped. But hopefully you'll see this and you get a little bit of inspiration because both of you seem to have questions about how to use them. And I totally get that because I see a lot of products and I go, what in the world would I do with those? Obviously the key here is making sure you get all the circles, which I did except for that one that's covered up, so it's not a big deal. Alright, you just pull it off gently. Alright, and there you go. So you have this really cool pattern with this wood veneer stencil. So there you go. Those are our different methods here. We have our sprayed one up here in the corner. We have our ink. We have our paint that I've done a couple times, which I think is the hardest of all of them to do. We have our glitter glue here, and then we have our just pen tracing. And that's pretty much it. I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration, and I hope you take a couple things and try them. If you like my preferred method, again, these are just the applicator sponges. These do say they're with vitamin E, but I have not had any issues with the ink and the vitamin E and the sponges reacting or anything like that. So I'm not a professional. I don't know the chemical background of it, but just from my experience, I haven't had any issues with that. So there you go. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Bye.